Today's guest is the best-selling and award-winning author Kelly Moran. She has numerous standalone contemporary novels and a few series, including the Redwood Ridge romances. In fact, her latest book, New Tricks, is the third in the series, and it will be featured at the 2018 Barbara Vay Reader Appreciation Weekend, where Kelly will be joining me. Kelly, your books, they can be sweet, they can be saucy. Based on this parameter, where would you put New Tricks?
New Tricks would probably be maybe halfway in between. The romance is open door, so sex shown, not implied. But it has a lot of humorous elements. Also has a lot of sweet one-liners. Drake, which is the hero in New Tricks. Of all three of the books so far in that series, he's the old soul, the most romantic. So there's definitely some awe moments in there,
which is going to be wonderful. I think readers will eat that up. And so it has a lot of the elements of the first two books in the series, sort of the give and take between the characters and how they arc into what is a wonderful ending for both.
Thank you. Yeah, book 3 would be Drake. He's the hero in the third book. He owns a veterinary clinic with his brothers, and one of his brothers is in book 1. His other brother is in book 2. So, and then the rest of the series will continue with other members from the small town.
Great, because I know that readers love to follow a family, especially when they have multiple siblings who all have their own love lives and the things that happen in their love lives. So you've pretty much set...
It's a very, very family-oriented series. Very family-oriented series. So I was really, really, really loving writing all three of the brothers and then slowly incorporating other people from the town, to get them introduced for future books. But a very family-oriented series. I love writing it.
So how are you going to segue into non-family members as love interests in future books?
Well, book 3 introduced the next two heroes in the next two upcoming books. The heroine in book 3, her mother has early onset dementia, and the hero and heroine both play on a softball team, which is where Jason, the firefighter, and Parker, the sheriff of Redwood Ridge, are introduced. So they pop up. And are friends of Zoe's, the heroine in book 3. So they pop up in book 3 2-3 times, maybe just to introduce them so readers can get a little feel for them before they show up in their releases next year.
Wonderful, wonderful. After the Vay event and book 3, you'll also have a fourth book coming out in 2018 as well?
Correct. That's the goal. I'm hoping for spring, but that's to be announced at the moment. So Residual Burn, that'll be book number 4 in Redwood Ridge. That'll feature Jason the firefighter. And then book 5, untitled as of yet, is going to be Parker the sheriff. I'm hoping for summer and or fall for that one.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it sounds like you've got that little town covered as far as love and romance goes. And yes,
and there's 3 meddling matchmakers who like to insert themselves. So I think their goal is to go through the whole town to make sure everybody's paired up with somebody.
Well, that should be a very interesting town in another year.
It should be, yes. Expect a baby boom in Redwood Ridge, Oregon.
I love it. I love it. You're based in the Carolinas, but you know Oregon well, don't you?
Actually, I have never visited Oregon, and I live in Wisconsin, but the majority of my family resides in the Carolinas, so I know the Carolinas very, very well. When I was trying to figure out where I wanted to base Redwood Ridge, I wanted to go somewhere that was... I have a fascination or a love for the coast, so I really wanted somewhere that was, scenic, coastal, but also somewhere I had never been, but I always wanted to travel. So wound up picking Oregon, and it's, of course, a fictional town, but it's pocketed between the Klamath Mountains and the Pacific Ocean, and I absolutely loved that whole area when I was researching. I have a readers group, and a number of them are from Oregon and Washington and the Pacific Northwest. So did a lot of research and stuff through them, and it's just a beautiful area. So unfortunately, never been there.
Well, that's
Can't wait to
gotta,
visit, though.
I was going to say, that's got to be on your quote unquote bucket list. I hate that term, but I'll use it here because it is a beautiful area and you will fall in love with it. And you're very, very lucky to have a group of readers, who are from there. They're going to love having you out there. And when you do, it's going to be the actual the vision of what you imagine for your series. I think, you're manifesting it for yourself right there.
Definitely. So beautiful out in that area.
And you also write paranormal, from what I understand.
I do.
Good.
I do. Yes.
Do you have anything coming out that is paranormal? There are readers at the Barbara Vay event that do love paranormal.
Actually, from my understanding, I'm told that a couple of the people who picked my table picked me because I also do paranormal, which is kind of a bonus for me because most people know me as a contemporary. But in 2015, I had a trilogy out called Phantoms, which is about a fictional TV show about ghost hunters. Of course, they also fall in love. And I picked up a selective group of people who just absolutely adored that series and wanted me to do more paranormal. And that's where my witch trilogy kind of came into play, which I'm hoping to have released next year. That's the series is temporarily or perhaps albeit called Fated. I don't know if that's going to change. It takes place on a fictional island off of the coast of Massachusetts, and it's got the whole, destiny curse thing going on. And I finished book one just recently, and that's off to my agent right now. And I absolutely love writing this series because it has a lot of humor too.
Well, that's going to be a fun series to be on the lookout for. And also the fact that it happens right where witchcraft is so well known, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I can imagine with your sense of humor, it's going to be fun.
It is quite interesting. Book one is a lot. It wound up coming out a lot sweeter than I actually expected. There's of course the magic and witchcraft and the history of it. But book two, the hero and the heroine, which I just started writing, I'm a couple chapters in. The hero and the heroine are constantly like bickering back and forth in a twisted sort of foreplay, and they are just hilarious together. And book three has a couple that have a history, but nobody else but them knows that. So that'll be interesting once I get to that one too. Absolutely loved it. When I was doing some research for the Phantoms trilogy that released in 2015, I wound up loving the entire, Northeast area. And book one was set in Maine, and wound up I was actually bouncing back and forth between did I want to do Massachusetts or Maine, and wound up going with Maine. So then when I did my witch trilogy, I chose, of course, Massachusetts.
Right. Well, it gives you plenty of opportunity for travel because now you have to do Oregon, Maine, and Massachusetts.
Exactly. I'm going to tell my husband exactly that.
Well, that's why we travel. That's why we travel. We always go, I can place a character here. I can place a character here. So.
Exactly. Love this idea. Bringing it up with the hubby later.
Good. Well, thank you again for joining us. And I know that Barbara Vay's readers will be on the lookout for you and will totally enjoy what you have to tell them about your books and about yourself when you're introduced to them. And I can't wait to meet you too.
I look forward to it. I can't wait for the readers to meet, or the readers luncheon to meet everybody. Thanks for having me.
Want to hear more about the authors who will be attending the Barbara Vay Reader Appreciation Weekend? Just go to my website, authorprovocateur.com, and click on to the other interviews. You'll also find them on the event's Facebook page. And beneath each interview, feel free to leave a comment about your favorite part of it. Doing so puts you in the running for a bundle of the author's books. Listeners can leave one comment per author to be entered for the drawing. This is Josie Brown of Author Provocateur, signing off.